Uh, So, here we sit. I would say this last week has been an incredible time of transition. We are moving from what have been the opening energies of 2023, and now we're really March in, but brings us into a time where we're really moving into what is the energetic schematics or the overall governing energies for the year or even a few years ahead. What's really kind of cool is that we're moving here, I want to say within some of the cosmic shifts that are taking place. Saturn is moving into Pisces. And I'm not going to, again, get too astrological on this because there's a lot of amazing astrologers out there that we can, further kind of dive into this. But I always look at how does it affect us as energy sensitives? How does it affect us in terms of our connection to the unseen realms? And this is the cool thing about it, is because we move into, even in the start of today's energy is all about connection and communication, which means there is an amplification of our soul senses that is already starting to happen even as we're peeking into the March energy. And when we move into that first week of March, we have this push or this movement of energy that actually is going to heighten everything that we've experienced or are experiencing as mediums, heightening the communication, amplifying the soul senses, clearing some of the pathways and gateways where we might have otherwise felt some congestion within the veil, some obstruction within communication. And it's really going to open us up into greater flow with the unseen realms, which is like super exciting. As I always say, it's a great day to be a medium, right? And this continues to be just this beautiful alignment within the cosmic atmosphere that is just giving us more and more permission and to be this authentic expression of who we are, to do this work in the world, as well as helping us in increasing that communication with the unseen realms, making our job, so to speak, as mediums even easier. So this is really, really cool how, like I said, how this is playing out. It's a very significant energy that really is allowing for, greater things, like I said, greater connections to unfold, and really kind of amping up what is our directive and purpose. Now, when we look at it, we could say Saturn, so to speak, is the Lord, is referred to often as the Lord of Karma, which means that there's going to be a lot for us in terms of not stirring up our karmic lessons or stirring things up to make life more difficult or challenging for us, but we're helping to clear things out, where the karma, resolving the karma, any of those influences that have been, maybe halting or stopping us from fully stepping into our mediumistic talents in this lifetime. There's a lot of that that's also going to be cleared out for us, which is like super exciting, which means that even a lot of the impacting aspects of past life, maybe where we're holding traumas from having done this work in previous lifetime, where we are looking, and again, that can happen in many different forms. We all know, past life stories and scenarios, and we all have them. And so this is really about really helping us to let go of any of those imprints and anything that is interfering with our capacities of fully stepping into our light, our power and purpose in this lifetime. So it's really, really cool. So you can expect over this next, especially as we start into this early part of March, and as we kind of move, this scenario within the cosmic atmosphere is in place for about the next 3 years. And so you're going to see that there's going to be a real evolution and expansion and evolving for us in terms of our mediumistic talents, how we're directing our purpose, the work that we're doing, etc. So there's a lot here in terms of, recognizing our own spiritual self, expressing more, being more spiritually grounded, more spiritually more mature, more spiritually on course, path, and purpose. There's a lot of creativity energy here. So creativity comes in many forms, of course, for mediums, so you might find creation in terms of writing your books, your blogs, things like that. Also in terms of maybe your artwork, if you're someone who helps, to people to move through or to reconcile some of the grief and process through those deeper emotions through art, you're going to see there's an increase of calling towards that now as well. So there's a lot of creativity, even creativity in terms of classes or creating services and creating events and things like that that are going to help other people to heal. I think this is where we sit within kind of a dynamic arrangement within the cosmic atmosphere, simply because, as we come forward, moving, and again, we all have a different pace, we all have a different path as our soul is evolving and experiencing and healing and everything. Our journeys are very unique unto ourselves. But if you're someone who has been doing the inner work, if you've been doing what my guides have always said, working through this preparation stage. This preparation stage is so that we're able to step up, step out, and be of greater service to people as well. So there's a lot of course, we know this universal year 7 is all, is in large part about really a greater awakening taking place. And so we're being set into positions where we can be of heightened service or in availability in helping others to heal or to move forward. So this is really happening, again, as I say, a lot of that within that creative expression. What are we looking to create? This really comes down to some of the bigger, conversations as well that we get to have with the universe. What do we want to be, do, and have within our lives, but not in terms of self-service, in terms of the me, but in looking at how are we creating within our lives so that it becomes possible for us to be of greater service to others. And that really becomes, as I said, an overall theme. So there's a lot of creative push, so to speak, as we begin to move into this new month. Now, here as well, we're also going to have a lot in terms of our boundaries. Now, boundaries with the spirit world. Now, again, again, this always represents, as I always say, what we do in our day-to-day life, this very human experience that we're having, directly affects our relationships and connection with the other side, and vice versa. So when we look at the invitation of what this brings, is really helping us to redefine our boundaries or even implement boundaries in a way that maybe we haven't done before. And as I speak in the level 1 program, I always talk about how we sometimes we don't know that we require a boundary until something happens and we've experienced something, and now it's kind of set us back a little bit. And we have to look, say, oh, whoa, hang on a second. Where do I need to redefine, or where do I need to increase? And that being said, or where do I need to decrease the boundaries I've had in place? So this becomes this invitation for us here as well to really consider the boundaries that we have, what we're looking to experience with the unseen realms, what we're wanting to ease up on, etc. So it really is, it's a really big facet for it. There also within it now comes an increase of our well-being. And so we've been talking, especially, last year, you remember me saying a lot of our overall themes were self-care, self-love, making sure that we are nurturing and caring for ourselves, increasing and paying attention specifically to those 3 basic spiritual needs that I discussed in the level 1 program. Those needs that really help us to ensure that we are well taken care of, so that we're in a good place energetically, that energetic responsibility, where we're really being taking care of ourselves at a heightened level or more focused way, so that we can be of greater service to others, right? So this really, there's a big piece of this in terms, again, where I say where we have been prepared, where this movement continues. This, however, as we move into March and as we're moving into this next phase, so to speak, within the cosmic atmosphere, where now all of the health on all levels of ourselves is becoming ultimately important in order for us to continue to be in service at the levels, the invitations, the ways, the creative ways that we're being asked to express and to share and to help others. This is where, again, this comes down to being the core aspect of this service oriented position that we're being placed in. So that means that, things in terms of our mental well-being, our mental health is going to be a big piece for us, being able to really move out of some of the conditioning, the beliefs that we've held about ourselves, the fear-based aspects of things that maybe are causing us to maybe have a limited perspective or point of view, but also paying attention to what we're paying attention to, what energies we're allowing to influence ourselves, the aspects in terms of even our well-being, in terms of the action and nurturing that's required as we move through the dark nights of the soul, or we might be having increased maybe feelings of depression or anxieties and things like that. So this energy can cause what can be more discomfort of some of those symptomatic things. But we always remember here that that not only do we have our own mental health to consider, but as energy sensitives, we're very attuned to what are the conditions of the collective around us as well. So this really becomes the practice of remembering and recognizing that this is all energy, and we want to make sure we're doing things to have a healthy mental status within our own self, because our mental health affects our emotional health. Our emotional body is what dictates our vibration and connection to the other realms, and also looking at what this means for in terms of our physical health as well, and of directing us into greater spiritual health at the core. So we're really this really becomes an important piece of it, where even as the spiritual empaths that we are, we're going to see that there may be some different challenges and things that we're encountering over and throughout this next phase within the energies. So this is again where we come back to the practices that feed our soul, the practices that keep us in alignment, the practices that help to move us through or lift us even vibrationally out of what is the pain, the suffering, the etc of the collective, right? So we always want to make sure we're recognizing the energy of it. We're recognizing the energy of depression. We're recognizing the energy of anxiety. We're recognizing the energy of joy. We want to always remember this is energy, so that it can pass through us and doesn't become us. And so that we're really being placed right now within the theme and within the position to become very attentive to our mental, our emotional, our physical, and spiritual health. And again, this falls under the governance of the Universal Year 7. This is really, as I shared with you at the beginning of the year, how we think, how we live our lives, the choices we're making, what we believe. It's going to be changing significantly this year, simply because there is the shedding and falling away of what have been the old paradigms and structures that we've experienced within our world as we know it. And so the invitations are now of going deeper, coming within, recognizing what is true, right, and best for us, regardless in terms of what may be, some of the greater influences, etc. So this is really as I said, we're kind of moving out of that beginning energy of 2023, where we're now in this position and place where we're moving into these other energies that are a little bit maybe disruptive, but more importantly, we know that Anything that's disruptive is really creation. So there's where there is, destruction, there's creation. And so we look at, okay, where is our invitation? What's being asked? How do I nurture, care, and ensure my wellness, and be attentive to that? And again, that responsibility that we have, that self responsibility, but the energetic responsibility as well. This becomes a really important invitation for all of us. So this also means things like, where maybe you've only been doing space and energy clearings occasionally. This is where, again, within this disruption of energies and within, um, the circumstances, no matter, the tragedies, the traumas of our life, or even the traumas or tragedies of the collective, we want to always make sure that we are existing or living in what is the healthiest resonance of energy possible. And that becomes only available to us when we are consistent, we are practiced, we are aligned, we are connecting, right? So we become, again, allowing for that light energy, that high vibrational energy to move through us in support of us, in our energetic needs, as well as the influences of these energies in the outside world. So again, instead of being defined in our physical life experience in terms of the outer energies and how it defines our well-being, we're looking at becoming very conscious, very attentive to what is our energy that's moving, that's from within, and the within to be expressed out instead. So again, our expansion meditation, our, as I said, regular space and energy clearings, clearing your own auric field, becoming consistent and practiced at the very things that really help to ensure your overall well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically, as well as spiritually. So this is a really big factor as we come into this week here now, as we move into these new March energies. Now, where we also look, which is kind of really kind of cool and exciting, and remember, it's always a good day to be a medium, is that we really have, as higher consciousness is coming into form for us through the energies, we're coming into greater spiritual flow. So where there is greater spiritual flow, which means there's greater flow of connection and communication and receptivity with the spirit world, there's greater flow and connection with our guides, with our spiritual team, with the I would say these beautiful, high intellectual and vibrational beings that really are helping to support our mission, purpose, path in this lifetime. And so you're going to see that there's an increase of or the amplification of soul senses, where here this is about, where things are really keen, they're really exact, they are really in a place of where where the invitation here again, fall into trusting, trust what you know, right? Where we look at it from the claircognizant point of view. This is a conversation many of you, and I have had, where claircognizance comes into form, and we get into the mind questioning, or the mind talking us out of some of that deeper knowing. And I think this is also here again, trusting ourselves, trusting what we're receiving. Because again, where there's greater spiritual flow, we also, when we can position ourselves in a place of trust, in a place of certainty, and even though a place of certainty, it's not about we're looking to convince people that no, you're like, our sitter is like, oh, you're wrong, no, this is what I'm getting. This is saying I'm not sure how this fits, but what your loved one is showing me is this, and I'm not sure if there it might be something exact like this, something similar, because remember, we're interpreting energy, right? We are energy interpreters, but spirit speaks to us in energy. So we're taking those impressions, and we are sort of, so to speak, transcribing them through our body, and using that mental mind to be able to give the messages and everything. But we want to be able to offer it in trust and certainty about what we're receiving, but allowing for how it fits into someone's life, for them to be the ones to bring those puzzle pieces in, right? So, but we want to move into a heightened state of trust. Now, here again, as I say, this movement of spiritual flow here, we're really going to feel more again, begin this beginning of this direction of energy helps us to really feel more directed, more connective, more keen and certain in terms of what we are receiving. There's also, in form of this as well, a lot of clarity, so clarity even in terms of helping us to make some of those concise or exact decisions, more clarity, where maybe there has been some confusion and this feeling of uncertainty, even, how do I serve? How can I take this out into the world? There's so much within it that in creates this unknown scope of things. But as it's increasing our our connection, there's going to be more clarity here as well. But the key is to not force anything. It's like, as we are showing things, as these aha moments are happening, we need time to contemplate. We need time to get all of the pieces and answers. And we don't necessarily get all of the answers in one meditation or in one moment. But I would really encourage you to begin to write things down, to begin to I've had a lot of conversations this week with my clients that have been, in terms of enacting or making some really big changes in their life. And this is because the energies are kind of moving us into that greater purpose, the again, the scope of what it is we truly want to be, do, and have, not in terms of our own self-preservation, but to be, do, and have in order to be of service. And so this is a really, you might be someone who's really experiencing this as well. And so we're asking to allow our mind, we're being asked to let our minds wander, consider some possibilities, begin to move into co-creation with the universe, as opposed to looking at having to figure it all out and to do it all. We always want to look at asking in the form of prayer, of affirmation, of intention. This is also here where a lot of these invitations lie for us. So, we're really being asked to move into our hearts, to be open hearted, to be open to possibilities here, but also to spend time in contemplating what this could look like, how we could do it, but not sitting in contemplation where it creates procrastination. We want to move into this time of where we're considering these things, and then do some research, make some phone calls, start to, put some pieces together. Even if you don't have all the answers, just begin. Remember, I said this is creative influencing energy. So we look at everything that we're taking under everything we're considering and now taking some action on. Really, it doesn't mean that's exactly what we're going to do or exactly what this is going to look like. What it does is it opens up the energies to allow for greater possibilities, for other things that we might be able to look at creating, look at doing, or in support of some of these bigger changes where we want to enact upon in our life. So this is, again, it's an uncomfortable time, and it's an uncomfortable time because there's a lot of the fears that are beginning to surface. The fear of the unknown, the fear of, I'm not even sure if this is going to work. The fear of, whatever it is, the fear of what other people are going to think, the fear of getting this wrong in some way. And so all of that is going to surface. But here, this is always, as I say, when fear shows up, this is, let faith answer the door. Let your faith and connection to your guides, the faith and connection to your higher power, the faith and connection that you have in relationship with your loved ones in spirit. Let that be the North Star that you're following. And where we can forward into faith, fear disappears. And so this really, again, as we're being invited to slow down, consider things, contemplate, use our gifts and connection to be able to bring, to bring forward some of these heightened thoughts, heightened possibilities for us. and look at, again, not letting the logic overrule. Do in this becomes, I would say, our biggest challenge as humans, right? Is not allowing for us to talk ourselves out of things. And so again, anytime, as we say, anytime fear shows up, any fear of anything, the fear of failure, the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of what other people are going to say, the fear of all of it, I always know as soon as fear's there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so on path right now. I am exactly where I need to be because my ego's freaking out a little bit here. And this is a sign that something good is about to happen. I'm on my way to really a forward movement that's actually going to be greatly fulfilling. It's going to be answers to my prayers, but it's also going to be in the ways that I've been asking to help and be of service for other people who maybe are seeking, who are searching, who are praying. And so I think that it's, we're really being positioned for that. So we're looking at here, especially as we move into this week, just take each moment by each moment. Just take a breath and another breath. Just give yourself, the opportunity to slow down, detach from the outside dramas of things, so not to get entangled in other people's experiences or things that are happening. Again, it doesn't mean that you don't care, because of course we care very greatly. There's that compassion aspect for each of us, of which is a really huge example. This is where, I mean, don't get entangled into creating more drama over the situation. Avoid the gossiping, avoid the judgments, and move into a place of blessing and a place of help and a place of guidance for people, instead of maybe instead of getting entangled in it. Now, the mystical side, I mean, this is our gift. Our gift is that we have opportunity to bring, to play, so to speak, with the mystical side of life. We get to engage with the spirit world. We get to create and bring into form the intangibles and make it tangible. And so this is a week where we're really being asked to trust ourselves, to focus on what really matters in our life, the change that we seek to be in the world, instead of trying to change what's happening in our immediate scope. And again, self-care, 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 our overall well-being becomes massively important. In order for us to do well or help in high level ways, we also need to be well. And so everything that we need to do in order to ensure that we are well taken care of. Okay. So that becomes my little bleep for today, for What's Up Universe, in terms of these energies.